All right, we're going back to your calls, and I'm getting to Chris Matthews attacking us in the White House, sending their surrogates after me, and a bunch of other news. But the Federal Reserve plunging in the polls, people figuring out who the real enemy is, that's coming up. But I want to talk to a bunch of callers here in a moment. But Paul Hartman, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I did years ago catch a little bit of a show about the Pimp game. And when I saw it, and then I researched it more, that's how the elite treat the general public. And it is the Stockholm Syndrome, or similar to it, where they love their abusers. They give up, think they're powerless, and are then like children, or like a dog you beat. It just loves you more. It just grovels more. And they've taken our fighting spirit as Americans and broke our back and made us capitulate like a whore. And you were in there saying you're trying to find the clip online because we want to play it, of what Pimps Up, Hoes Down was the name of the show on HBO. But you were telling the story, Paul Hartman, out during the break with great precision. Repeat that story.
Well, it's just a part, and I don't know if it's the documentary Pimps Up, Hoes Down. They kind of showcase all these famous pimps throughout the U.S., and I don't know if it's Pimpin' Ken or Don Magic One. They're kind of big pimps in the whole hip-hop world, and one of them they're in the car and they're telling a story about how one of his workers, one of his hoes, had gotten beat up, shot, stabbed, the whole nine, and he goes to the hospital and she's in the recovery room and whatnot, and the worker, I hate to say the word hoe, but the whore lady was saying, "Oh, baby, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get up on them streets. I'm going to make that money for you. I'll be better. Don't worry about it. I'll be out there. I got you. I love you, baby. I'm going to make this money for you." And then the pimp says that he looks at the female's mother and she just starts tearing up and she's saying, "What did you do to my baby? What have you done?" And it was kind of, I don't really know what happens after that, but it was just crazy to see how this woman just obviously was brainwashed. Under mind control. But see, it's doublethink, or what they call Crime Stop in Orwell. Because Orwell had worked with the Soviets, then with British intelligence. Well, British intelligence, then the Soviets, then found out it was all run from the top by British intel. And that's what 1984 is about. Fake wars with East Asia, with Russia, with Airstrip 1 in the U.S. really is a war against the people. And he figures out the government staged in the terror attacks, all of it. He worked with OSS in the highest levels of propaganda. And then it's clear they killed him. 1 year after that book came out, he died mysteriously. He even went and hid out on an island in Scotland when he was writing it. He ran away from him. Eric Blair was his real name. But he talks about pimping the hose, basically, the breaking of the spirit. And, the pimps will take 99% of the money. These women will have nothing. And the worse they treat them, the more they love it. And it's the Stockholm Syndrome. And Barack Obama is our American pimp. He is literally pimping us, lying, just like Bush, but even worse. I mean, it's sick. Man, there's also a portion of this particular documentary I'm talking about where they're talking to the pimps and they're like, "Well, how much do you break off to your hoes and this and that?" And the person asking the question is like, "You give them 5%, 10%?" And all of them are like, "I give them nothing. They don't want nothing. I'll give them some chicken. They'll be happy they get them some chicken. I'll give them something to eat and a place to stay. But no, I'll take everything. I want everything. They don't get no 10%. That's my money."
Well, growing up in high school, I wasn't in the whole cool guy, not cool guy thing. I was kind of on my own way and didn't understand how everything worked, but I was popular because I didn't care about being popular. And then later, as I grew up and realized how psychology worked, it's like the bad guy who drives the fast car and wears the leather jacket and is mean to his girlfriend is the guy that just has women just falling down over themselves. And I wasn't mean to my girlfriends, but I was very popular because I just wouldn't put up with any crap. Well, it's even worse. If you treat them even worse, they love it. They love it. The public loves giving their kids cancer viruses. They love drinking sodium fluoride. They love having everything. They love cops now. Have you heard in Chicago, they're just going to shoot people at checkpoints?
Yeah, I'll pull that up for you. But,
yeah, CBS. I mean, that is insane.
Yeah, but
that is insane.
When I first,
but is that not pimping the hose? I mean, if that's saying, "I'm going to even take your life." They're like, "Thank you, officer. Good."
That's pimping the hose squared right there. But That was the thing.
Pimpin' the hose squared. We are now blinging some new nomenclature.
But, you know, when I first met you about 3 years ago, I was working on your Sunday show. It just kind of clicked for me about a month or two ago. Remember, we were back there, and I was, you know, the whole New World Order and how they treat the flock. And I was like, man, I've heard this somewhere before. It's the pimp game. You can relate. It's the perfect parallel. It's the pimp game.
Pimp game.
It's what it's all about. I ain't no hoe, though, so.
Me neither. Let's say it together. To the government. I ain't no hoe. I ain't no hoe. I ain't no hoe. I ain't no hoe. I ain't no bitch.
I ain't no hoe.
This is Alex Jones. Have you heard of the Millionaire Patriot? Well, you should. He has a free handgun and 5 days of firearms training waiting for you. That's right. You can attend 5 days of world-class gun training at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute and secure a 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. Plus, if you act fast, the Millionaire Patriot will give you a free Springfield Armory XD pistol in the caliber of your choice. I believe now is the time that you and your family need to be armed and trained to levels that exceed law enforcement and military standards. Front Sight provides such training without any boot camp mentality or drill instructor attitudes. This is real. Don't miss out. Secure a Front Sight defensive handgun course, plus a 30-state concealed weapons permit for pennies on the dollar, and get your free handgun. Go to frontsight.com today. That's FRONTSIGHT.com. Go to frontsight.com for your training and free gun.
There'll be a golden ladder reaching down
when the man
comes around.
All right, folks. It's enough of the immortal Johnny Cash. All right, I'm going to get into news, then your calls. For folks that are holding patiently. Finishing up with the pimp game. It's not just men pimping women or government pimping society. Women run the pimp game. You know, you see these husbands, broke back, woman's dominating them, but the man's unhappy and so's the woman because women are not happy in that position. And so this whole pimp society, this whole Stockholm Syndrome society only works in a slave broke back system, not in an upright, strong society. And only in decadent, degenerate societies does this operate. And the pimp game works with valley girls and people's good little girls that run off to college and become slaves because mommy and daddy were so nice or things were so cushioned and they just didn't know how to stand up to something like that. Or they came from such poor families, it's the same. And the adults give their children to CPS workers who are known pedophiles and criminals in many cases and let them, in many cases, drug them out, rape them, kill them. And then the government says, that's how it is, you're going to take it. We have to get angry with righteous indignation. We have to take action against these people. Because I don't want my children being slaves to the government. I don't want to be under bondage, folks. It's a spirit. It's an idea. It's a system. It's an attitude. And I'm saying, no, I am not your slave. So it's that simple. And we have to get aggressive. We have to get strong. We have to get focused. And we have to say no. Because they train us how to push us around. And then now they're going, yeah, we're going to set up Army checkpoints. And if you run the checkpoint, we're going to kill you. Yeah, you know, L.A. and Chicago and Dallas police are going to shoot any fleeing car. That's so criminal. That's such tyranny. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Now, I want to break down all these surrogate, White House-driven, George Soros openly owned and paid for operations. This story is up on prisonplanet.com. It's important this get out. Left-wing website with direct ties to White House smears Alex Jones as the establishment intensifies its efforts to demonize his political adversaries as extremists and terrorists. A George Soros-funded left-wing website with direct ties to the Obama White House has parroted the months-old debunked smear that Pittsburgh cop killer Richard Poplawski was an Alex Jones fan. And see, they've now passed their hate bill, and the House and Senate now goes to conference to fully ban free speech in America. It just says, if we don't like what you say, we arrest you. And this guy, I guess, wants me arrested. I mean, that is the equivalent of a commissar right there. Think Progress claims that it is a nonpartisan organization, yet is bankrolled by the Center for American Progress Action Fund, a think tank headed by Bill Clinton's former chief of staff, John D. Podesta, pictured top. He was also head of the Barack Obama presidential transition team after the 2008 election. According to SourceWatch, CAP's Progressive Media Project emerged as a major communications war room on behalf of Obama's domestic and foreign policy agenda. CAP became a strong advocate for the escalation in Afghanistan. Progressive Media is run through the Center for American Project Action Fund, the more political 501c4 arm of CAP. You can also go look at their federal filings, Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie, Ford. I mean, and there's 5 or 6 big sites attacking me weekly.